Remember when Cat Williams boldly said this?
Because P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no.
Well, Monique didn't hold back either when she backed him up.
Everything Cat Williams sat here and said,
Right.
we all know it to be the truth.
But then Monique went even further, hinting that Kim Porter's death might not have been what it seemed. That's when things turned dark, because according to insiders, Diddy didn't just brush it off, he allegedly started making quiet moves to shut her up. In this video, we're breaking down the alleged threats, what insiders are saying, and the chilling accusations Monique has hinted at, the explosive allegation. So check it. Diddy's currently locked up facing some serious charges. We're talking over 63 lawsuits and federal criminal charges that have completely rocked his empire. This man who once sat at the top of the hip-hop world is now fighting for his freedom in a Manhattan courtroom. The feds hit him with racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges, and his trial just kicked off on May 12, 2025. But today's story ain't just about Diddy's current legal problems. This is about something potentially even more sinister. Allegations connecting him to the death of his ex, Kim Porter, and how comedian Monique might have found herself caught in the crossfire after speaking some truth. Let's rewind and set the stage. Kim Porter was Diddy's on-again, off-again girlfriend from 1994 to 2007. They had 3 children together, Christian in 1998 and twin daughters Jesse James and Delilah Starr in 2006. Diddy also raised Porter's son Quincy from her previous relationship. Despite their breakup, they remained close co-parents, and by all accounts, Diddy was devastated when Porter suddenly passed away in 2018 at the age of 47. The official cause of death, lobar pneumonia. That's what the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office determined after an autopsy. Case closed, right? Not exactly. Because in recent months, as Diddy's empire has started crumbling under the weight of numerous sexual assault allegations, new questions about Porter's death have begun to surface, and that's where things get really interesting. In a recent interview, Kim Porter's ex, Al B. Sure, made some shocking claims about her death. When asked directly if he believed Porter died of pneumonia, Al B. Sure responded with a firm absolutely not.
Do you believe that she died of pneumonia?
Absolutely not.
Why? What evidence do you have?
She was in the best of health. We just saw each other prior to her passing.
Al B. Sure went on to describe seeing Porter at a Netflix event celebrating their son's Christmas special, where she appeared to be in perfect health. He even mentioned that. Diddy was there too, and everything seemed fine between them all. But then Al B. Sure dropped another bombshell. When asked if he believed Diddy or people affiliated with him did something to cause his own multi-organ failure that put him in a coma in 2022, he responded,
I believe this to be the case, yes. Absolutely.
Wow.
My first time saying it.
Are you concerned that he still has power outside of incarceration?
Remember, I'm the only one who spoke up, and I'm the only one left alive.
These are some heavy allegations, and they don't stop there. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has also raised questions about Porter's death. In an interview, Deal claimed that Kim Porter's death wasn't properly investigated. He pointed out some suspicious circumstances.
You gotta realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated, bro. Her death wasn't even investigated. And it should have been a proper investigation so all the family members can feel like that there was no foul play in her death.
One of the most bizarre claims Deal made was about Porter's casket.
Some people even said that her casket was ordered 2 months before she died. I don't believe that, man. I swear. I'm not no conspiracy theorist or none of that. But I heard, did you hear something like that, man? That her casket, how you order a gold casket 2 months before somebody died, man?
Now, it's important to note that official autopsy reports did show that Porter had been suffering from flu-like symptoms for several days before her death. She had a fever of 102 degrees and had been prescribed antibiotics. The report also noted no evidence of foul play and classified her death as natural. And Porter's own children have denounced these conspiracy theories as simply untrue and hurtful, emphasizing the pain such rumors caused their family. This public denial from her children aligns with the official classification of her death as natural. But here's where Monique enters the picture, and where our story takes another wild turn. Monique, a comedian and Oscar-winning actress, has been known for speaking her mind, even when it means going against powerful figures in the entertainment industry. She's had long-standing feuds with Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and others in Hollywood. But recently, she's been turning her attention to Diddy. In April 2024, during a comedy show in Louisville, Kentucky, Monique made some jokes about T.D. Jakes and Tyler Perry, linking them to the ongoing Diddy scandal. This wasn't random. T.D. Jakes was mentioned in a lawsuit filed against Diddy by Rodney Lil Rod Jones in February 2024, with Jones claiming to have irrefutable evidence of Diddy detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Jakes to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Monique has also been very supportive of fellow comedian Cat Williams, who has been outspoken about Diddy for years. In January 2024, during an interview on the Club Shay Shay podcast, Williams predicted that all these big deviants are catching hell in 2024. It don't matter if you're Diddy or whoever, T.D. Jakes, all lies will be exposed. When Monique appeared on the same podcast shortly after, she defended Williams, saying,
Everything Cat Williams sat here and said.
Right.
We all know it to be the truth. However, we get so caught up in, well, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Right.
Well, can you believe he said it? Or can you?
Or it's the messenger.
It's the messenger, baby. We get so caught up in the messenger that we'll overlook the message. People have a hard time hearing a 5'5" giant tell the truth. People have a hard time with a black woman over 200 pounds tell the truth.
After her Club Shay Shay appearance, Monique announced she would join Williams on his Dark Matter stand-up tour, referring to him as her twin brother. Their alliance has added fuel to the fire, with both comedians being seen as truth-tellers, who aren't afraid to challenge powerful figures in the entertainment industry. In one of her performances on this tour, Monique was captured expressing her admiration for Williams.
And I called him up. And I said, hey, I just got a call to let you know how proud I am of your standing the way you been standing. I'm so proud of your goddamn. I don't even know what to tell you. I just want to hug your little.
The close relationship between Monique and Williams, both of whom have been critical of Diddy, raises questions about whether Monique might have received threats for her outspokenness. While there's no direct evidence of Diddy threatening Monique over Kim Porter allegations specifically, the timing of her comments and her association with Williams, who has been warning about Diddy for years, places her in a potentially vulnerable position. The troubled relationship. Let's keep it a buck. Diddy and Kim Porter had a complicated relationship, to say the least. They were together on and off from 1994 to 2007, and while they seemed to have a strong connection and co-parenting relationship behind closed doors, things might have been much darker than the public knew. According to multiple sources, their relationship was marked by Diddy's alleged controlling behavior. In a docuseries called The Fall of Diddy that premiered in January 2025, Daniel Smith, the former editor-in-chief of Vibe magazine, provided a first-hand account of Diddy's treatment of Porter. She claimed that Diddy was awful and very mean to Porter, describing an incident at a nightclub where Diddy allegedly interrupted a girls' night, berated Porter publicly, told her she should be at home, and emptied her purse in front of her friends. Smith's allegations were supported by reports from other media outlets. For example, Hindustan Times published an article in October 2024, citing an insider who worked closely with Diddy and Porter, alleging that Diddy exhibited controlling behavior and that instances of domestic abuse occurred during their 13-year relationship. Similarly, Marca reported in October 2024 that Diddy's relationship with Porter was under renewed scrutiny due to his legal issues, drawing parallels to claims made by Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a 2023 lawsuit. Now, let's be clear, Diddy and his legal team have consistently denied these allegations. In response to Daniel Smith's claims in The Fall of Diddy, Diddy's attorneys disputed the allegations, calling them pure fiction. And as of May 13, 2025, no legal findings or convictions related to these specific allegations have been reported. But the controversy doesn't end there. In September 2024, a purported memoir titled Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side was published on Amazon. The 60-page book, allegedly based on Porter's diary entries, detailed claims of physical abuse by Diddy, as well as other allegations about their relationship, including an open relationship and sexual misconduct. However, the memoir's authenticity was widely disputed. Porter's children, Quincy, Christian, Jesse, and Delilah, Stella issued a joint statement on Instagram on September 25th, 2024, denouncing the book as simply untrue. They stated that their mother did not write the memoir, and that anyone claiming to have a manuscript was misrepresenting themselves. The memoir was pulled from Amazon on October 2nd, 2024, after a dispute regarding its authenticity, with an Amazon spokesperson confirming that the book was no longer available for sale. Diddy's attorney, Erica Wolf, described the memoir as fake and offensive, accusing it of being a shameless attempt to profit from tragedy. Despite the lack of credibility, the memoir's brief availability and its allegations contributed to public discourse about Diddy's relationship with Porter. And this is where things start to get even more interesting. Remember Al B. Sure, the R&B singer and Kim Porter's ex. He's been raising questions about Porter's death for years, suggesting that there was more to the story than what was officially reported. In his recent interview, he mentioned that Porter had warned him about Diddy.
And thank goodness to my ex, the wonderful Kim Porter, the late Kim Porter, who, kind of warned me all along the way to, just kind of watch your back, so on and so forth. And I didn't understand why.
Because of Diddy.
Basically.
Al B. Sure isn't the only one raising suspicions. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has pointed out several concerning aspects of Porter's death that he believes warrant further investigation.
How is it that you know how we are as a people? I don't believe that 10% of your viewers that's watching this don't keep their phone when they go to sleep in arm reach. How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim's bed? Her laptop missing, her cell phone's missing. Everything is missing that she could get in touch with her little girls if they not at home, or her friends or family. All that's missing.
Deal also questioned why the detectives didn't personally examine Porter's body.
How is it that, and this is her say, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at? That the coroner them had already removed her, pronounced her dead, and told the detectives them that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case needs to be reopened.
Another strange detail Deal mentioned was that Porter received a massage shortly before her death, despite reportedly having pneumonia.
We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation. Shout out to Paperwork. At the Paperwork part, I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia? And do we know whether she used that baby oil or not for that massage? It makes you say, that's a big man.
Now, it's important to note that the autopsy report does confirm that Porter received a massage on November 14th, 2018, the day before her death. The report also documented her declining health, noting that she had been experiencing flu-like symptoms for about 4 days, including a fever of 102 degrees. Medical tests for flu and strep throat were negative, and she had been prescribed antibiotics and received IV fluids with vitamin. But what makes all of this even more intriguing is how it connects to Diddy's current legal troubles. Diddy was arrested on September 16th, 2024, on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. He's currently detained at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center awaiting trial, which began on May 12th, 2025. These charges have amplified public and media scrutiny of his past relationships, including with Porter. The 2023 lawsuit filed by Cassie Ventura, which alleged sexual abuse and other misconduct, prompted speculation about whether similar behavior occurred in Diddy's relationship with Porter. While the Ventura case was settled out of court, it fueled public interest in Porter's experiences. And this brings us back to Monique. Why would Diddy potentially feel threatened by Monique speaking out about Kim Porter? Well, Monique has a reputation for being outspoken and unafraid to challenge powerful figures in the entertainment industry. Her support of Cat Williams, who has been predicting Diddy's downfall for years, puts her in a position to amplify these allegations and bring them to a wider audience. But there's more to the story than just Monique's outspokenness. There's an interesting connection between Monique and another figure in this saga, Monique Bunn, a hip-hop photographer who had her own troubled history with Diddy. According to Rolling Stone, Monique Bunn was a photographer close to Notorious Big and other bad boy artists. She sued Diddy in 2000 for withholding a set of Biggie photos, which she won. Following this, Bunn claimed her professional opportunities diminished, alleging Diddy called the Fader magazine to pull advertising if they worked with her, suggesting a form of blackballing. While Monique and Monique Bunn are different people, the similarity in their names and they're both having conflicts with Diddy creates an interesting parallel. Could Monique's support of Cat Williams and her jokes about T.D. Jakes, who was mentioned in a lawsuit against Diddy, have put her on Diddy's radar? There's another angle to consider here. Monique has been very vocal about being blackballed in Hollywood after her Oscar win for Precious in 2009. She's blamed Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels for limiting her career opportunities. In February 2024, during her appearance on the Club Shay Shay podcast, Monique claimed to possess a recording of Perry confessing to starting rumors she was difficult to work with. This experience of being allegedly blackballed and silenced by powerful industry figures might make Monique particularly sensitive to similar patterns of behavior in Diddy's orbit. And given her platform and willingness to speak truth to power, she could be seen as a potential threat to Diddy's already fragile public image. But here's where things get really interesting. While there hasn't been any direct evidence of Diddy threatening Monique specifically over Kim Porter allegations, there are reports of Diddy attempting to influence witnesses and control the narrative from behind bars. According to court filings from November 2024, federal prosecutors have accused Diddy of breaking Metropolitan Detention Center regulations by using other inmates' telephone accounts to make calls, allegedly to evade monitoring and contact individuals not on his approved contact list. These calls included three-way arrangements to reach associates considered part of his alleged criminal enterprise, potentially to influence witnesses or victims who could provide testimony against him. Prosecutors further allege that Diddy orchestrated social media strategies from jail to sway public opinion and the potential jury pool. These actions are described as relentless efforts to obstruct justice, with prosecutors noting Diddy's uncanny ability to get employees, family members, and inmates to do his bidding. If Diddy is willing to go to such lengths to control the narrative from behind bars, it's not a stretch to imagine that he might view Monique's outspokenness as a threat, especially if she continues to support figures like Cat Williams, who have been calling him out for years. The power struggle. First things first, let's talk about power. In the entertainment industry, power isn't just about money or fame, it's about influence, connections, and the ability to make or break careers. And for decades, Sean Diddy Combs has been one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop and beyond. But power can be used and abused. And if the allegations against Diddy are true, he's been abusing his power for a very long time. The over 63 civil lawsuits and federal criminal charges that Diddy is currently facing paint a picture of a man who allegedly used his position to exploit, manipulate, and silence others. One of the most disturbing aspects of these lawsuits is that many of them involve allegations of drugging and sexual assault at events like Diddy's white parties in the Hamptons. Some accusers allege they were filmed without consent and threatened into silence. For instance, a lawsuit filed on October 14, 2024, claimed a 16-year-old was assaulted in 1998. But what does all this have to do with Monique? Well, to understand that, we need to look at Monique's own history of challenging powerful figures in the entertainment industry. After winning an Oscar for her role in Precious in 2009, Monique claimed she was blackballed from Hollywood because she refused to participate in unpaid promotional activities for the film, particularly at the Cannes Film Festival. In a 2023 interview with Vanity Fair, she explained, "I'm doing a talk show. I'm doing a comedy tour. I have a husband and I have babies. I have a little bit of downtime and I'm going to take advantage of it, so I'm not going anywhere because I'm not obligated to go anywhere. I've done my part." This refusal led to tensions with the film's producers, Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, who allegedly labeled her difficult to work with. Monique has been very vocal about this experience, claiming it significantly limited her career opportunities. In 2018, Monique released a secretly recorded conversation with Tyler Perry, in which Perry admitted that the difficult to work with label was unfair and that Monique should have been paid for overseas promotion of Precious. The transcript includes Perry stating, "This is Tyler Perry talking. I'm going to call and find out what money is coming in from Precious, and I'm going to send that to you." Though Monique claims this payment never materialized, Monique's willingness to expose powerful figures in the entertainment industry, even at the cost of her own career opportunities, makes her a potential threat to someone like Diddy, who has allegedly gone to great lengths to silence those who might speak out against him. But the connection goes deeper than just Monique's reputation for speaking truth to power. Her association with Cat Williams puts her squarely in opposition to Diddy. Williams has been predicting Diddy's downfall for years and has made numerous comments about him. In a stand-up performance following Diddy's arrest in September 2024, Williams addressed the federal raids on Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami homes, where authorities seized 10,000 bottles of baby oil. Williams humorously noted that Diddy's lawyer claimed the baby oil was purchased in bulk from Costco, but he countered that Costco does not sell baby oil. He further suggested that the baby oil was used in Diddy's so-called freak-off parties, implying that drugs were involved. During a January 2024 interview on the Club Shay Shay podcast, Williams made a prophetic statement about the entertainment industry. "All these big deviants are catching hell in 2024. It don't matter if you're Diddy or whoever, TD Jakes, all lies will be exposed." This comment, made before Diddy's legal issues became public, was later highlighted as a warning by fans and media outlets after federal raids on Diddy's homes in March 2024. In the same interview, Williams claimed to have turned down $50 million 4 times, stating, "P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you've got to tell him no, I did." This remark suggested that Diddy's parties involved activities that Williams found morally or ethically compromising. Following Diddy's arrest on September 17, 2024, Williams posted on his Instagram story sharing an AI-generated clip that superimposed Diddy's face onto a scene from the 1991 film New Jack City, where the character Nino Brown identifies his associates in court. Williams captioned the clip, "Diddy about to snitch on everybody." Monique's support of Williams and her decision to join his comedy tour sends a clear message that she stands with someone who has been calling out Diddy for years. When she appeared on the Club Shay Shay podcast in February 2024, Monique defended Williams, saying,
It's the messenger, baby. We get so caught up in the messenger that we'll overlook the message. People have a hard time hearing a 5'5" giant tell the truth. People have a hard time with a black woman over 200 pounds tell the truth.
This statement is telling. Monique is aligning herself with Williams as a truth teller, someone who isn't afraid to speak up against powerful figures in the entertainment industry. And in doing so, she's potentially putting herself in the line of fire. But even more concerning is the fact that Monique's jokes have explicitly connected TD Jakes to Diddy. Remember, TD Jakes was mentioned in a lawsuit filed against Diddy by Rodney Lil Rod Jones in February 2024. The lawsuit accused Diddy and associates of participating in a sex trafficking venture and included allegations of sexual harassment and assault. While Jakes is not a defendant in the lawsuit, the mention of his name in connection with Diddy has raised eyebrows. During a performance on April 12, 2024 in Louisville, Kentucky, Monique made explicit jokes about Jakes' December 2023 sermon. In the sermon, Jake spoke about coming out of the closet, quit keeping a secret, and let the world know, if it had not been for the Lord that was on my side, I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Monique interpreted this out of context, responding with sexually explicit jokes that connected Jakes to the Diddy scandal. Given Diddy's alleged history of trying to control the narrative and silence those who speak out against him, it's not hard to imagine that Monique's jokes and her association with Williams might have put her on his radar. And here's where things get even more concerning. As we mentioned earlier, federal prosecutors have accused Diddy of using other inmates' telephone accounts to make unauthorized calls from jail, allegedly to evade monitoring and contact individuals not on his approved contact list. These calls included three-way arrangements to reach associates considered part of his alleged criminal enterprise, potentially to influence witnesses or victims who could provide testimony against him. If these allegations are true, it suggests that even from behind bars, Diddy is attempting to maintain his power and influence, and that raises serious questions about the safety of those who speak out against him, including figures like Monique. Now, let's be clear, while there are reasons to believe that Monique might be at risk of threats from Diddy or his associates due to her outspokenness and her connection to Williams, we don't have direct evidence of specific threats being made. This part of the story is still unfolding, and we'll need to wait for more information to emerge. But what we do know is that Monique has been fearless in her criticism of powerful figures in the entertainment industry, even when it has cost her career opportunities. And Cat Williams, her ally in this battle, has been even more explicit in his criticism of Diddy. It's also worth noting that Al B. Sure, who has been raising questions, legends. About Kim Porter's death for years, mentioned in his recent interview that he has increased his security due to concerns about his safety.
You heard about Al B. Shore increasing his security?
You know, I spoke to Al a couple of times, and he texted me a couple of times too. I think knowing the history of them two, if he did increase his security, he have every right to. And I believe that Al knows that Puff has some powerful people, or has some powerful people around him, and some people doing some things for him that could danger his life.
Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, expressed support for Al B. Shore.
I don't think nobody would be paying for some security if they didn't think their life was in danger. So I could see Al doing that. I understand why Al is doing that.
If Al B. Shore feels the need to increase his security due to his comments about Diddy and Kim Porter, it's reasonable to wonder if Monique might face similar risks due to her outspokenness. But let's zoom out for a moment and consider what this whole situation reveals about power dynamics in the entertainment industry. Monique has been fighting against what she sees as unfair treatment by powerful figures for years. In her view, the industry often silences and marginalizes voices like hers, especially when they speak uncomfortable truths. During her appearance on the Club Shay Shay podcast, Monique made a powerful statement about the importance of speaking truth to power.
If it's your story and it's the truth, tell it. Because what you can do is be in a position to prevent it happening to someone else over and over and over again. So if I go back to the 11th grade with that sister who's no longer with us, rest her with that sister, I would do that again.
This philosophy, that speaking the truth can prevent harm to others, is central to understanding why Monique might be willing to risk potential threats from someone like Diddy. In her view, remaining silent in the face of wrongdoing only enables further harm. Monique has also been critical of what she sees as a culture of fear and silence in the Black entertainment community. During her Club Shay Shay interview, she said,
"That's why we're in the position we are now as a community, as a Black community, as a community in entertainment. Everybody's been so afraid to say, look what they did to me. Look what they said." And it's like, oh, well, listen now, we don't want to ruffle no feathers, especially if the messenger doesn't fit what people should think the messenger is supposed to look like.
This culture of fear and silence is what allows powerful figures like Diddy to allegedly abuse their position for so long without consequences. The over 63 lawsuits against Diddy, many of which involve allegations of sexual assault and abuse, that suggests a pattern of behavior that was enabled, at least in part, by a system that protected the powerful at the expense of the vulnerable. And that's where Monique's story intersects with the larger Diddy scandal. Both involve allegations of powerful figures using their influence to silence and control others. Both involve challenges to a system that often values power and connections over truth and accountability. Now, as Diddy's trial unfolds, the truth about his alleged crimes may finally come to light. The federal trial, which began on May 12, 2025, focuses on charges that could lead to life imprisonment if convicted. The jury selection has been completed, and opening statements have already highlighted the prosecution's claim of Diddy as a predator using fame and violence, countered by the defense describing his lifestyle as consensual, swinger behavior. Witnesses, including a Los Angeles police officer and a male review manager, have testified about incidents like the 2016 assault on Cassie Ventura, with more expected in the coming weeks. As the trial progresses, we may learn more about the full extent of Diddy's alleged crimes and whether figures like Monique have reason to fear potential threats. But regardless of the outcome of the trial, the larger issues it raises about power, silence, and accountability in the entertainment industry will remain. Monique's willingness to speak out despite the potential risks highlights the importance of challenging a system that too often protects the powerful at the expense of the vulnerable. In an interview with Teyana Taylor on Bumble's Love to See a Virtual Reality show, Diddy spoke about losing Kim Porter and the impact it had on him.
It's the only way like you kind of know how important it is. So all the heartache that anybody's ever been through, you know, all of the loss that people have gone through, that's the thing that really makes you appreciate the times that you actually felt that and actually received that love. You know, when you lose that unconditional love, that's the one that has you respect. Put some respect on love's name.
There's a certain irony in these words, given the allegations that have surfaced about Diddy's treatment of Porter during their relationship. If the allegations are true, it suggests a man who didn't fully appreciate what he had until it was gone, and who may have contributed to the heartache and loss he speaks of. And that brings us back to Monique. In standing up against powerful figures like Diddy, she's fighting for a world where love and respect aren't just words to be used in interviews, but principles to be lived by, even by those with power and influence. So is Monique at risk of threats from Diddy over her comments about him and her support of Cat Williams? Based on the evidence we have, it's certainly possible. But what's clear is that Monique is unlikely to be silenced regardless of the risks. As she said during her Club Shay Shay interview,
So when you get to a space where you say, listen, I want to be free. I want to be free. I don't want to walk around intimidated, scared, fearful. What might happen? What they going to say? What they going to do? If it's your story and it's the truth, tell it.
this is a philosophy that challenges the very power dynamics that have allegedly allowed figures like Diddy to operate with impunity for so long. And in that sense, whether or not there are specific threats against Monique, her very existence as an outspoken, truth-telling voice represents a threat to a system that relies on silence and fear to maintain its power structure. As Diddy's trial continues and more information comes to light, we'll be watching closely to see how this story unfolds. But one thing is clear: the days of powerful figures operating with impunity in the entertainment industry may be coming to an end, thanks in part to brave voices like Monique and Cat Williams who refuse to be silenced. Word is, Diddy's deep ties with powerful gangs are coming back to bite him, and now a gang leader is spilling all the tea on why he's really terrified. While everyone cackles about the 1,000 bottles of oil needed to lubricate an orgy, they're forgetting that you need a shitload of drugs to fuel it. And with drugs comes the need for protection and guns, like AR-15s the FBI found at Diddy residence. So why is Diddy scared? Well, let's just say he made a silly mistake with the LA gangs, and that's what we're about to uncover. Why Diddy is scared in prison. Reality hit Diddy like a brick wall. The flashy lifestyle, the wild parties, and private jets, gone in the blink of an eye. Now he's just another inmate, locked up in the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center, surrounded by some of the most dangerous criminals in the system. One of the many lawsuits against him, this one from his ex-producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, straight up claims Diddy was deep in the streets. According to the suit, Diddy wasn't just hanging with these dudes, he was funding them. Gang leaders were pulling up to his LA and Miami cribs, using those connections to move drugs and guns like it was nothing. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would Diddy be scared in prison over this? When you're dealing with gangs, it's not just about making connections, it's about making enemies too. Sure, he might have been tight with some of these gang leaders, but inside prison, loyalty is a fragile thing. Alliances shift fast, and unfinished business can come back to haunt you. And in a place like the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York, where Diddy's being held, gang activity runs deep. All those past dealings, they could make him a serious target for retaliation. For those who don't know, Diddy ended up in MDC after being denied bail. Not once, but twice. The whole bail drama kicked off on Tuesday the 17th, just a day after he was hit with charges in New York for racketeering, sex trafficking, and transporting people for prostitution. Diddy's legal team pulled out all the stops, pushing for home detention with GPS monitoring on a $50 million bond. And he wasn't playing around. He put up his $48 million Miami mansion and his mom's house as collateral. To show he was serious, Diddy, his mom, and even his daughters handed over their passports to his legal team, ready to comply with whatever the court wanted. His legal team made it clear: Sean Combs has never evaded, avoided, eluded, or run from a challenge in his life. His lawyers were so confident, they were even talking to the press like it was a done deal.
Do you think he'll be released? I'm gonna fight like hell to get him released, and he should be released.
But all that confidence came crashing down when Judge Tarnofsky shut it down, saying Diddy was too much of a flight risk. And to make it worse, the court was worried he might tamper with witnesses. With charges this serious, the court wasn't about to take any chances. And prosecutors, they came with receipts. They claimed that before his arrest, Diddy had been reaching out to victims and witnesses, trying to sway them to his side and spin his own version of the story. That move alone, it threw up some major red flags. But Diddy's team wasn't about to let it slide. The very next day, they filed an appeal, this time going to U.S. District Judge Andrew L. Carter. And to sweeten the pot, they laid out some serious conditions. Diddy agreed to weekly drug tests, keeping visitors limited to just family and caretakers, and logging every single person that stepped foot into his Miami mansion. And just to make it crystal clear, no female visitors, except for family. But even with all that, Judge Carter wasn't buying it. The court still ruled that Diddy was too dangerous to let out on bail. His history of violence and what they called his anger issues were just too much of a risk. So with that, he was shipped off to MDC, a place that inmates straight up call hell on earth. Now, MDC ain't your average facility. This place has a rep for being one of the roughest. It opened back in the 90s, and it's been nothing but chaos ever since. Overcrowding, violence, and no real medical care. The conditions are so bad that even some judges have straight up refused to send people there. One judge, Gary Brown, even ruled against sending a 75-year-old convicted of a nonviolent crime, calling MDC's conditions barbaric. He pointed out multiple incidents of unchecked violence, including stabbings and deaths, and he wasn't exaggerating. MDC has seen some grim incidents lately, like when Uriel White got stabbed in June 2024, or when Edwin Cordero died after a brawl just a month later. And it's not just the violence that's off the charts. Suicides, a lack of supervision, and overall lawlessness run wild in that place. And it gets worse. Back in 2019, there was a power outage that left over 1,000 inmates trapped in freezing cells for days. It's a clear sign of how mismanaged the whole place is. The place is straight chaos. So it's no wonder Diddy might be feeling the need to constantly watch his back. But even more than just watching his back, life behind bars has been a whole different world for him. The moment he stepped through the doors of MDC, things got real. No more lavish meals or private chefs. It was prison life now. According to sources, Diddy's first meal inside was Swedish meatballs, a long way from what he's used to. On the side, some egg noodles, green beans, and a garden salad. And if the meatballs weren't his vibe, he could have gone for a black bean burger. But let's be real, this ain't exactly 5-star dining like he's used to. Some folks might think he still got it good, but trust, this is a far cry from the life Diddy knew. To make things even worse, Diddy's been placed on suicide watch, which means less freedom and even more isolation. For those who don't know, suicide watch is intense. It's a strict setup designed to stop inmates from harming themselves. Inmates placed on suicide watch like Diddy are often held in isolation and constantly observed by guards or cameras. This level of supervision ensures that they don't have access to items that could be used for self-harm, such as belts, shoelaces, or bed sheets. The environment gets stripped down to the bare minimum. Sometimes they even throw you in a padded cell with no furniture. Food is served in small bites, so you can't use it to suffocate yourself. And in extreme cases, they make inmates wear special gear called suicide smocks, tear-resistant clothing you can't use to hurt yourself. It's rough, mentally and physically. Toiletries, books, and other personal items are also restricted, making the environment harsh and mentally taxing. Everything's locked down. Even bathroom breaks and showers are monitored, with almost zero privacy. According to a few sources, Diddy gets only 3 showers a week and 1 hour of daily recreation. If an inmate becomes more of a risk, restraints can be applied, such as a 4 or 5 point system, where their arms, legs, and sometimes their head are tied down to prevent any movement that could lead to self-harm. The official reason for Diddy being placed on suicide watch hasn't been confirmed, but sources are saying his mental health is shaky, and it's all for his own safety.
This is his version of 9/11, so to speak. There's very few people can come back from that, and so going from living this life of luxury to self-surrendering to prison, thinking that you might make bail, is a dangerous thing for Diddy.
But not everyone's buying it. Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, insists the man isn't suicidal. According to him, it's just protocol for new high-profile inmates. He told the press that after spending 6 hours with Diddy, he seemed strong, healthy, confident, and laser-focused on his defense. Diddy's lawyer may be downplaying his fears, but the reality inside MDC is grim. And with everything Diddy knows about who's involved and the stakes of his case, it's hard not to see why he'd be scared. Look at what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, the infamous convicted sex offender, was placed on suicide watch back in July 2019 after an alleged suicide attempt. But just 11 days later, they took him off suicide watch, moved him to a lower security cell, and the next thing you know, he's dead in his cell. The official ruling was suicide by hanging, but the circumstances were shady. The night Epstein died, guards reportedly fell asleep, security cameras mysteriously malfunctioned, and routine cell checks were skipped. This sparked all kinds of conspiracy theories, with many believing that Epstein was murdered due to his connections with powerful people, connections that could have been exposed if he went to trial. Now, when you look at Diddy's situation, you start to see some parallels. Diddy's case also has some heavy hitters implicated, big industry names. So people are out here speculating that Diddy's fears go deeper than just the prison condition. It's not just about surviving in MDC, it's about who else could get exposed if things go south. Big names implicated in Diddy's case. One of the biggest industry names linked to Diddy's case right from the jump is Republic Records CEO, Lucian Grange. Lucian Grange isn't just any player in the game. This man is a heavyweight in the music industry. As the chairman and CEO of Universal Music Group, UMG, he's been shaping modern music for years. We're talking about guiding the careers of megastars like Taylor Swift, Drake, and Billie Eilish. Since he took the reins at UMG in 2011, the company's value shot up from $22 billion to $50 billion by 2019. Billboard didn't just name him the most powerful man in music once. They did it 4 times in the 2010s and even crowned him Executive of the Decade in 2020. This dude is beyond connected. But here's where things get messy. In the lawsuit filed by Lil Rod Jones, Diddy and his entourage were accused of all kinds of unlawful activity, including sexual harassment, assault, and those wild freak-off parties we've all heard about. And Lucian Grange's name? It's right there in the mix too. The lawsuit named both Universal Music and Grange as co-defendants, saying they knew or should have known what was really going down. Grange was accused of ignoring the fact that Diddy was allegedly drugging attendees with spiked bottles of DeLeon tequila and Ciroc vodka. Naturally, Grange wasn't having it. He fired back hard with attorneys for Universal Music Group and Grange calling the accusations offensively false. They even said they'd seek legal penalties against the lawyer who filed them, doubling down on their denial. But here's where it gets interesting. Just 2 months after that fiery response, Lucian Grange's name mysteriously disappeared from the lawsuit. In a sworn statement filed on May 13th, Lil Rod's lawyer Tyrone Blackburn admitted there was no legal basis for the claims against Grange and Universal. He asked the court to dismiss the case against them with prejudice, meaning it's done, locked, and can't be reopened. That sudden 180 had a lot of people raising eyebrows, thinking something didn't add up. And Grange isn't the only big name wrapped up in Diddy's mess. Another one that caught serious attention is none other than Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. isn't just any actor. He's a legend in the game. He blew up with iconic roles in Boys in the Hood and Jerry Maguire, where he snatched an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. His role as that charismatic football player in Jerry Maguire is still talked about today, especially that unforgettable line, "Show me the money." But after that, he bounced between some critical hits and misses, trying to keep his stars shining. According to the lawsuit, Jones claimed that in January 2023, while on Diddy's yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Gooding crossed the line. The suit details how Gooding allegedly groped Jones, touching his legs, upper inner thighs, lower back near his buttocks and shoulder. And it wasn't just talk. The lawsuit even brought screenshots from footage showing Gooding forcibly touching Jones aboard Diddy's yacht, adding weight to these claims. Cuba Gooding Jr. straight up denied these accusations, calling them ridiculous and expressing shock at even being dragged into the lawsuit.
Your name, for example, was mentioned in the Diddy case.
Which was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Because you barely know
This is
him,
the
right?
most ridiculous thing ever. But again, welcome to being a celebrity.
Gooding also downplayed his connection with Diddy, making it clear that their relationship was nothing deep. He brushed it off, saying they were barely even acquaintances, and the lawsuit was blowing things way out of proportion.
You guys close? Were you guys friends or?
We were acquaintances, just like I just showed you.
Yeah.
2 to 3 times I've seen him, so it's...
Oh, so Diddy, you've only seen him 2 or 3 times.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
While Gooding denied being a part of Diddy's inner circle or assaulting anyone. Let's not act like his name being dragged into Diddy's mess is far-fetched. Gooding's got a track record with legal issues, especially surrounding allegations of sexual assault. His most notorious case comes from multiple women accusing him of inappropriate behavior and unwanted contact. In 2022, Gooding pled guilty to forcibly touching a woman in a New York nightclub, avoiding jail time by complying with court-mandated counseling. This incident was part of a series of accusations, with over 30 women coming forward alleging sexual misconduct by Gooding. In 2023, just before a civil trial was set to begin, Gooding settled a lawsuit involving a woman who claimed he assaulted her in a New York hotel room a decade earlier. While the details of the settlement were not disclosed, the case was notable as it was expected to include testimony from other women who accused Gooding of sexual assault. Another industry heavyweight mentioned is Ethiopia Habtemariam. Ethiopia is a straight-up powerhouse in the music game. Known for her game-changing leadership at Motown Records, she's been holding it down since she started her career at 14, interning at LaFace Records. Fast forward to 2011, she became the senior VP at Motown, and by 2021, she was running the whole show as chairwoman and CEO. She's been instrumental in guiding the careers of legends like Nayo, Stevie Wonder, and new gen stars like Lil Baby, making Motown relevant for both the OGs and the new wave. But here's where things get messy. The Lil Rod lawsuit takes a serious shot at Ethiopia Habtemariam, claiming she had a duty to ensure there were no sex workers at Diddy's events, and that she should have stepped in to stop Diddy from spiking drinks with anything shady. The lawsuit lawsuit paints her silence as complicity, accusing her of turning a blind eye to everything going down, and it doesn't stop there. The same lawsuit names Christina Coram, Diddy's chief of staff, and pulls her right into the mix. According to Jones, while living with Diddy, he was constantly dealing with unwanted groping and touching. On top of that, Jones claimed he had to work in Diddy's bathroom while Diddy walked around naked, showering in a clear glass enclosure. Jones, feeling uncomfortable and straight up humiliated, took his concerns to Coram, hoping she'd handle the situation. But instead of addressing it, Coram brushed it off with a casual, "You know, Sean will be Sean." She downplayed everything, calling it friendly horseplay like it was no big deal, just Diddy's way of showing he liked him. But the drama doesn't stop there. Some big-name musicians have also been pulled into Diddy's legal storm. One name that stands out is Stevie J. Now, Stevie J is no stranger to controversy. He's been a big player in both the music and entertainment worlds. His name got caught up in Diddy's mess when Rodney Lil Rod Jones claimed in the lawsuit that Diddy once showed him a video of Stevie J getting involved in sexual acts with another man during one of those infamous freak-offs. Another name getting dragged into Diddy's web of drama is Meek Mill. Now, while Meek's name wasn't directly mentioned in the lawsuit, people started speculating after Jones made a claim about Diddy having relations with a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Naturally, fans and the media started connecting the dots, pointing straight to Meek Mill. But Meek wasn't about to let that slide. He quickly took to social media to shut down the speculation, fiercely denying any involvement. He made it clear that no one would ever approach him with that kind of behavior, and he wasn't here for the gossip. Young Miami's name also got dragged into the chaos. According to court docs, she wasn't just tied to Diddy as an artist. She was allegedly moving way differently. The suit claims Young Miami was involved in bringing cocaine to Diddy during rehearsals, but it doesn't stop there. The lawsuit goes even further, saying she was getting a monthly check as one of Diddy's sex workers. Things got even wilder when Jones alleged that Young Miami's cousin assaulted him at a party in 2022, following him out of a bathroom and trying to get physical, right in front of Diddy and his crew. There are even pictures in the lawsuit from that day, showing Young Miami and her cousin adding more fuel to the fire. With all these big names getting pulled into the mix, folks are starting to speculate this might be one of the reasons Diddy's straight up scared behind bars. As he sits in MDC, the powerful people he used to roll with could now see him as a ticking time bomb. Nobody wants Diddy's secrets or the mess he's tangled up in, dragging them down with him. When your reputation, your career, and even your freedom are on the line, those same industry players won't think twice about protecting themselves, even if it means throwing Diddy under the bus. But this ain't the only storm Diddy's weathering right now. Since his arrest, more and more controversies keep popping up, only putting more heat on his name.